Well, as we begin to explore order for our second week, I thought it would start us out looking at one of our four Mussar assumptions, which we haven't looked at in quite a number of months. And maybe we'll try this as kind of our opening discussion point. So the assumption is that there's a divine spark in everyone, which is occluded by our baggage. This idea comes from the book of Genesis, which says that we were created in the divine image. If you're not sure about the divinity, you can think of it as a common spark of humanity, that sort of piece of goodness that we all have that can't be taken away. And by baggage, I mean like the hurts and the disappointments that we have, the heartbreaks that we have in the world, which kind of leave some scars behind, which throws us off track. And so that can make it hard to kind of see our own divine spark, or just to kind of let our spark shine through. So that's the idea. And I'm going to open it up for kind of some reactions. Agree, disagree? What are your thoughts? Yeah, Joanne.
I hate to be the first one all the time, but anyway, I agree. I think that there's a touch of the divine in every human being, and maybe in animals too. And that some people are not in touch with that in themselves or in others. And that gets in the way, I guess, of our working on ourselves and also in relating to other people. Okay.
Thank you, Joanne. So we have Stephanie and then Sue.
I didn't know if you saw my hand. The icon doesn't show up as a hand, actually. So anyway, I'm just curious, could you give an example of how like the divine baggage would hide the spark?
Well, so so to clarify, the baggage is not divine. The baggage is human.
Yeah, I realized I said that wrong, but not the just how the baggage would manifest, I guess, into, would it be hiding somebody's divine spark, or would there be some type of behavior or?
Yeah, well, like one example is, let's, say someone maybe had a very authoritarian father and yelled at them a lot and was super strict. And then you show up to work and you have a male boss who tends to be a little bit strict, and you find yourself kind of cringing a little bit every time this person opens their mouth and asks you an assignment. And that's sort of our baggage, which is kind of getting.
I'm here.
Margie, I'm going to mute you. Which kind of gets in the way of, me sort of being my best, or this person sort of being our best.
Okay.
So that's one way, but other people may. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Sue.
Well, I'm struck by that word, occluded. I don't know. For some reason, I'm a detail person, and that kind of occluded, so not included, right? The opposite of included. I just think that's sort of odd because I've never seen that word before. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. Maybe it's just me. But
it kind of means blocked or shadowed by.
Yeah, I guess I was blocked by the word. So that would be an example, my divine spark was blocked by the word. No, but I think that's really important. When I think about one of the statements, honor every soul. That's one of my Mussar statements for honor. And that's when I think about that, is that everyone, is made in the divine image. There's a divine spark. Honor everyone despite things you might not agree with, arguments you might have. And I think that, to me, that's the baggage when if you are with somebody and there's something distasteful about them, there's still, honor them. There's something, there's goodness in them. You just have to kind of find the goodness or the spark.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Sue. Hey, Marianne. Great to see you. Hello.
Hi, I had a job that lasted a couple months. I'm back.
All right. Woohoo. Nice to see you. Bonnie, did I see your hand or were you just moving around? Okay. Any other comments? Yeah, Sarah.
Well, it reminded me of a yoga practice, and it's namaste, which means the divine in me recognizes and honors the divine in you.
Hmm.
And it's sort of like a greeting. And, it's a very peaceful thing. It's just sort of like recognition of the divine spark in all people.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. So let's see. We have Margie is next.
Apt to speak. Okay. So you can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I'm not reading the statement right now, but from what I get from it, for me, sometimes it is, I do think that the divine can be occluded. Is that the word that
Yes.
you had in there? Okay.
Yeah.
From me, in dealing with others. But by practicing Mussar, the Mussar practice that I have been doing and learning has really helped me to lessen that occlusion, because granted, everybody is, I like to think we are all created in a divine image, and there are going to be people whose image is really cloudy and the spark is just not there. How do I deal with that? How can I see that in them? So I do think that, it's just, for me, it's learning how to deal with that, because there are going to be, they're out there, unfortunately. Not
Yeah.
everybody is this group. Not everybody is on the same place as we all are, or I think that we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where it gets kind of harder when someone who is repeatedly displaying really bad behaviors. What then? Well, they have a divine spark, and sometimes I feel like, wow, I know it's in there, but boy, it's hard to see today. It's been hard to see for a while. Sue, did you raise your hand again?
I did, actually, but
Good,
because
good.
this whole discussion made me think of it from a different way. I think the baggage that we bring to the table sometimes clouds our own, when you have this baggage, like if you had some kind of a relationship growing up, then you're not able to show your divine spark. It can keep yourself
Mhm.
from being, and that just kind of clicked for me after talking about this.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole feeling that sometimes many of us get where I'm not enough, like that's losing touch with your divine spark. That's some issue there. We weren't born not feeling like we're enough. You go to any baby, are you enough? They don't even know what you're talking about. Of course I'm enough. Just, that's, everyone is born sort of innocent and things happen. Other thoughts or comments? Toby.
Just playing off what Sue said, I think it works in the other direction too, because of what you've experienced in your own life. If it was traumatic enough and cause you to not trust people, you might find it difficult because of your own stuff to see the divinity in other people.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a cup, it comes into play in in multiple directions. For sure. All right, well, let's take these thoughts into order and see where that brings us. Okay. So let's talk about order and why we practice order. And Rabbi Eliyahu Dessler gave 3 reasons why it makes sense to practice order. And could someone please unmute and read these out loud?
I
Bonnie.
will. Inner satisfaction and confidence that everything is under control helps you find things and saves time. Some things, like a clock, will only function correctly if ordered correctly.
Great, thank you. I'm going to stop the share and then I'll cut and paste this in the chat. So we can all percolate on these a little bit more at our own pace. Okay, that's interesting. That's the chat. All right, there's like a new version of Zoom. So Bonnie, did you have, I see your hand. Is there something you wanted to add or comment on?
I really like this. I really, really do.
Did you see your shirt?
Yes, thank you.
And
So man,
I have, my older daughter thinks that I'm so OCD that it should be in alphabetical order, CDO. I can't go to bed at night unless my workout clothes are in the bag by the bedroom door. Everything is laid out downstairs. The coffee is ready to go on. I'm staring at the one area in my office on my desk that is not organized, and it's driving me nuts. But the whole thing, sometimes, by the way, it's false. Inner satisfaction and confidence that everything is under control, that's BS. I convince myself that it's under control. And I like that, but it's not always true. But I really, really helps you find things. For me, absolutely. Saves time, 90% of it. And there are other things like any of the electronic things that I have. If one thing gets messed up, it's a problem. I may be a great educator and a development director, but I am not a techie. And so I have to go to my son, who is the techie. But I really, really like this. Where did you find this quote, please? Because I want to put it up on my desk.
It's from Rabbi Eliyahu Dessler.
Right.
I am not sure exactly where, but I can email it to you. And if I forget,
I'll let you know.
let me know. Other thoughts? Are there one of these that you find particularly challenging, maybe? Yeah, Joanne. And then
Well,
Sue,
speaking of tech
Sarah,
things,
and-
I find tech things challenging. But just now when I came on, I had to get on my phone because my computer kept telling me it wasn't connected to the internet. And I don't have anybody handy to ask. So I went over to my router and pushed a button and it worked. So I feel more confident in that. My biggest problem is like putting my phone down somewhere and it's like, where did I put it? And, you know, I like to have it in my pocket, and I even have a little bag I can carry it around. And if I don't have pockets, which they make women's clothes without pockets, which is a crime, I think, but against women. But anyway, among other things. And usually, I'll retrace my steps and find it or look where I last was, and there it is. But I'm trying more to have a place for things and things in its place. And I think I mentioned that when I had a cleaning lady, she didn't really organize, but she straightened up a lot. And I did a few things so that, okay, this goes here every time. And, so it's better. It's definitely better. I'm not an OCD person at all, but I'm trying to have those places where things are.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
Any thanks.
I was amazed when I went to visit one of the factories when I was in the corporate world, and they had like a drawer for tools, and they had a black outline around every tool and then the name of the tool there. So you knew exactly where it was going to be and exactly where it would go. So they wouldn't have to kind of waste time looking for tools. Anyone else have any thoughts? Yeah, Sue.
I resonate like Bonnie to the quotes. I'm an order person. And it's interesting because I think it might be my midah, because I get crazy when everything's a mess, and it just drives me up, so I'm not in the middle. I'm kind of on the OCD side. So it's probably something I need to work more at, even though I feel like I'm good at it. I think I'm more obsessive about it, which is not good. So when things are out of order, I'm just not happy. So I was thinking about the other side of it, when things are inner satisfaction, that everything's under control, right? And I also think I'm more of a control freak of my own environment. I'm actually okay with what other people do, but when it has to do with what I'm doing, it needs to be done, kind of my way, which also is not that great, in the sense that it stresses me out if things aren't working the way that I thought they should work in my own environment. So it's complicated, I think, on both sides.
Yeah, so it's calming for you when you can control the whole environment, but it's maybe constraining or causes stress when there's other people interacting with the environment, which I would guess is a fair amount of time. Since yeah, so it's a good self-recognition. Joanne.
Hi. Yeah, I think I do get crazy, and it has nothing to do with my messiness. It's when I'm at the synagogue, there's a luncheon, and people just leave their dirty plates on the table. I had a friend who was like trying to teach a class, and I just couldn't stand sitting at this table. And sometimes I start clearing the table because I can't stand looking at these dishes that are dirty and full of, leftover food. And I think it's horrifying. So I guess in that way, I'm a control freak, not of my own mess so much. It's other people's mess that try, walking on the street and seeing the litter. And it's like, they couldn't put this in it was from Dunkin' Donuts. They have trash cans there. It's like that kind of stuff drives me up a wall. That's all.
Yeah, that's that's another opportunity to take a Mussar look at that. And it's like, okay, yeah, order. And on the one hand, it's kind of a mitzvah to beautify the world and to clean up. And there's, it's a generous thing to do. But it's also like, sounds like there's some irritation that comes up and some judgment, and sort of like, I might feel better if I just didn't bother me as much. So there's a lot to work with there. Marianne.
There's something wrong with my computer, but I know that if things are all a mess, it makes it harder for me to think. So I have to have things orderly around me in order to think.
Hmm. Yeah, we talked about last week, sort of outer order and inner order. And they can reflect on each other. And for me, like when I start losing things, for me, that's my canary in the coal mine, that I'm getting like overwhelmed or there's sort of too much going on. And that I need to start simplifying or slowing down because I could tell that I'm not, I'm not the neatest person at all. And I'm better than I used to be. But if it gets kind of to a certain level, then it's like, all right, that's not good. But I think it's it's a measure of progress for me that if the house does get too cluttered and messy, that I get stressed. Or like my wife, she would be like, I get stressed when there's too much stuff around, and it never bothered me, but now it does. So I actually think that means that I am more in balance with order than I used to be. So it's a good incentive to kind of keep it going. All right, we have one more quote I'd like to share. I'm going to share, which I'm just going to put in the chat. And then after this, we'll head to our breakout rooms. But it is only one who prepares prior to Shabbat eats on Shabbat. And to some degree, this is related to kind of the traditional practice that you would not make fire. And there's all kinds of complicated rules about boiling water, whether it's allowed, not allowed, reheating. But that was kind of the rabbinic world that the author of this inhabited. So what aspect of order is this talking about? And is this too stringent? Does this make sense? How does this kind of fit in with how you approach the world? Toby.
I think this, to me, it seems to be more talking about preparedness
Mhm.
rather than having everything in its place, although they're related. So,
Mhm.
but I think it's being prepared for all the potential things. You can never be prepared for everything because, X plane could fall out of the sky or whatever. I mean, you can never be prepared for everything, but it's like if you have most of your stuff in a place where you can find it,
Mhm.
maybe that's good enough. I don't know. So if you can be as prepared as you can without being obsessive about it, because my leanings are towards the obsessive compulsive sort of thing too, except for my table that I'm sitting at right now.
Mhm. Yeah. So it's about there's preparation, there's planning, and there can be over preparation sometimes. Sue, and then Joanne.
I love this quote because I prepare for Shabbat. I'm really into Shabbat. And I always prepare for Shabbat. And just as an example, I always make challah. So, I mean, you have to have challah on Shabbat. You have to prepare for it. You can't just sit down and the manna comes down. So just today, I know I'm going to be on a boat, hopefully tomorrow, but I made challah and today, and I'm going to bring the challah. And when I go travel, I bring the challah and I prepare to eat on Shabbat. The challah is just an example, but and it did say food, one prepares prior to Shabbat, eats on Shabbat. But I think it's just to prepare for Shabbat, not just, the whole experience, I would add, the blessings and to have also we set a beautiful table. We beautify Shabbat, the mitzvah of beautifying it. And to me, it's just an amazing thing because I look forward to it every week, even though sometimes it's a lot of work to rush to get it together. It just feels good. And to be prepared for it, to set the table and be prepared is wonderful.
And so if you didn't prepare, if you just sort of showed up and opened whatever bread you happen to have around and just sort of threw the plates on the table, would you have the same kind of Shabbat experience?
So this feeds into my control of my space. it's like the perfect example. Because sure, we'll get invited to Shabbat and we'll go. But what I love is doing it, the special rituals that we do in our home, and then inviting other people to join us.
Mhm.
So I think that kind of feeds into my order of or my space that I'm controlling in that sense. And so preparing for it is part of that, I think. And I think that's a good thing that I do in terms of being for the order midah.
Yeah, thank you. And what I was hearing and what I think I'm sensing is that the preparation is part of what makes it special. You know,
Exactly.
it is part of the specialness of the whole thing is the preparation. It's like, I'm going to prepare for this and it's going to be as
That's
it
exactly right. That's exactly what it is. It's preparing for it that's even more special than the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, not more, but it's a different thing. But
Yeah. Okay, we have Joanne and then Sarah.
Yes, so I agree with Sue, even though I'm not OCD, but Shabbos, like you have to prepare, and I learned from one of my girlfriends, if you're not gonna have time Friday, you better do it Thursday night, so I have started a challah dough on Thursday night. But of course, since I've been sick and also because I'm not always so organized, but I have plenty of matzah left from Pesach. If I don't have challah, I use matzah.
Mm.
But I do, try, and I sometimes have missed, the time to light the candles, to make sure the food's prepared, the table set. And then it's like, oh, now I can relax. And it's such a beautiful feeling. There's nothing else I have to do now except enjoy the meal, sing or read something spiritual. Tomorrow we're going to have a lunch in the shul, so I don't even have to prepare for that. But I'm going to make some more stuff tomorrow, and I've made some salads and things, and so I did learn that value, and I agree. It's like it's all of a piece.
Joanne.
You can't light the candles if it's too late, and you can't cook if it's too late. And when my hot pot died, so I had to make sure I boiled the water beforehand and put it on the blech on a very low light. And, it's a relief. It's there when I need it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah.
So I was going to say something else, but I'll start with the more positive for myself. So it reminded me of when I entertain. I used to enjoy entertaining, or I still enjoy it, but I haven't done it as much. And for me, that means doing stuff in advance and being organized, because then I can enjoy my day or evening better, my company better, and not be so frenetic and tired. So I like to do the planning in advance. But what I was going to, so that was a good reminder of how in the past I have done the planning and it does really work for me. But what I'm in full disclosure, I'm really struggling right now with chaos in my house and lack of order. In fact, today, I'm just, I've been in a new place for a little over a year, and I just don't like the order that is set up. And so today I literally emptied a whole drawer onto the floor of socks, of mismatched socks. And I'm thinking, I just want to put them all in a bag and throw them out and start over. And I keep having these thoughts about a lot like that in a lot of categories. And I'm not, it's like, and I'm not sure if it's related to my divorce and wanting to kind of get rid of the past and start anew. I mean, because I've definitely done that somewhat, but I really like order. I really like when it's all tidy. And I remember when I was in graduate school, I would like clean the house and everything would have to be perfect before I could write my paper. And so I would do this whole ritual and then I could sit down and work, because I really do enjoy order. So, but I struggle with accomplishing it. And I wish I had like a team of 5 people to help me, because that's what I feel like I need. And that's not realistic.
Well, thank you, Sarah. We're listening with an open heart, and definitely hearing there are some struggles right now. And yeah, I'm hopeful that with time this will resolve and get better. All right, so we're gonna get ready and do our breakout rooms. I will start by sharing the prompt for this time. And so could someone please unmute and read this paragraph from Rabbi Nicole Auerbach?
In our everyday lives, we often employ the midah of seder with its rules and rituals to focus on the behaviors we want to cultivate. Through paper journals or applications on our phones, we can track our diet, the number of steps we take, or the amount of time we spend meditating each day. Rabbi Nicole Auerbach, the Mussar Torah commentary, commenting on Tzav.
Thank you. Thank you. So Rabbi Auerbach, she's talking about, everyday rituals, and sometimes that can be a lever to kind of make some changes in our life. And that's kind of the whole Mussar approach. And so with your partner, if you tried an order practice last week and people who are here, a number of people picked something that they wanted to do, you could talk about that. You could also talk about maybe some of the current rituals or rules that you use to cultivate positive behaviors, and how might you apply them to a current challenge. So I'm going to stop the share. I will copy this and paste it in the.
Did you look at your shirt?
Yeah, thank you.
Did you try it on?
Marge, if you could mute, please.
I can't,
Greg?
you'll have to mute me. I
Oh.
don't know how to do that.
Okay.
Greg, I noticed last week, and I don't know if it was the new setup you have,
Is it working?
but when we went into our breakout rooms, all of that was gone.
It's happened in the past too.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I have
okay,
found for me that I copy and paste it onto notes. which I
okay.
have on a Mac.
Yeah, I just wrote it down, but just to let people know it wasn't there.
Yeah, I think, yeah, thank you. I think that is part of the picture. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so the rooms are open.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome back. So how was your time in the breakout groups? Does anyone have, I see some nodding heads, that's good. Usually a highlight of the meeting. So would anyone care to share like something, an insight they had, or something that they shared or talked about? Joanne,
Me?
you did raise your hand, yeah?
Yes. Oh, I thought you said Diane. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Joanne, yeah, it's you.
I am, and I'm like, who's Diane? And no, I was just talking about how helpful it was having the cleaning lady who she misplaced a few things and messed up a few things, but basically made a lot of order out of what was chaos and clean order, which was fabulous. And so I haven't done it again, but I'm trying to maintain a lot of it, and I will do it again soon, really soon. And that, and also saying that I was looking forward to some, events with friends and at the synagogue, and we're supposed to do a walking tour July 2nd in Lower Manhattan, and I think that really helps, just having a positive outlook, having something to look forward to.
Excellent. Okay, so we thank you, Joanne. So we have Nancy and then Sue.
Yeah, so just to kind of sum it up, basically, when you have order, you feel good. And it's like, it may take you a little while to get that order, whether or not it's organizing a particular item, but it's there and you know where to look for it. And it just really feels good. And one thing I shared was that it's not a ritual, but every day I tried to get at least one thing done, which I said I was going to put order in little parts of my house. I did do that, not every day, but every day I did something. Like whether it's to the post office or go get gas or whatever. And I usually don't do that. But that goes along with what we were talking about, that when you put order into practice, you feel accomplished, you feel confident, and you feel really good.
Yeah. Thank you, Nancy. And that reminds me, one of the things I was thinking about when everyone was in the groups and talking about planning, is one area where I don't do very well is planning for other people's birthdays. And there have been times where that feels really bad because somebody's birthday is a day away and they live on the other side of the country and the card is going to be late yet again. And, that doesn't feel good. Or close relatives whose birthdays I did not sufficiently plan for, and they are disappointed. So that's one of the things I'm going to work on, is going on my calendar and 2 weeks ahead of the birthday, putting on a note saying, prepare for so-and-so's birthday, because those are a small step that I can take to practice order, which I think will avoid the feeling bad and getting to the feeling good. Sue.
I talked about one success from last week. I wanted to purge things and purge papers. And one of the successes that happened was when I was out with one of the members here, Margie. We both live in Minnesota here. And she had mentioned to me these papers that I had and books. And what I
Her
said,
papers.
yeah, my papers, sorry. And so what I did basically was do this whole project of putting the papers into these books so that wasn't such a cluttered, which was helping me with the papers. And what I realized was I was giving honor to her. I was using another midah, because we talked about this in this group, about how sometimes if you use another midah to help you with the midah that you're working on, and it really felt good because I was like, now I can tell Marge I did it. I was honoring you. And, so that was an accomplishment from last week.
Fantastic. Well done. Joanne.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on two things. One is I use paper shopping bags for disposing of junk mail as soon as I get it. And of course, sometimes I look through the junk mail for too long, but this time I really tried to get, I gave to this organization already, or there's 5 other ones are sending me mail because I gave to one organization, or I read this already, get rid of it. I'm really trying to do that and take out a big shopping bag that's full of paper every other day, pretty much. The other thing I wanted to suggest, I have a program I got from my late friend Helen of blessed memory, but it's and there's other ones, but this one is JackieLawson.com. It's e-cards. So you could send the card the day before to their email and they will get it on their birthday. So I've
That's
done that
Jackie
many times.
Lawson cards. That is great. They are really
That's
well
it.
done. And she does nice Jewish cards too, which
Yep.
is nice. Bonnie.
So I have helped other people in their own homes, and two of the things that have worked in organizing their homes, whether it's a closet or a kitchen or files or whatever, is number one, start small. Just do 2 feet in your closet and you've accomplished it, and step back and look at it. And the other is rewards, and rewards don't have to be food. They can be, okay, I'm going to watch an episode on a Netflix show. But set the reward, set it up small, be successful, and then you're going to want to do more. That's what's worked for me.
Thank you, Bonnie. Great suggestion. Yeah, Margie.
Am I on?
Yeah.
Am I micro? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
There's no. Anyway. So yeah, Sue. Thank you, Sue. I'm glad you were inspired. And it was hard for me to get rid of documents, papers, and then I finally just thought, you know what? In this day and age, for example, my insurance document, I know that they have it. Everything's on computer. And then even especially if you go paperless, it's like, well, I know that my information's out there somewhere. So I just got rid of lots and lots of documents and papers. And ultimate feeling is, Bonnie, you were talking about rewards. For me, the ultimate reward is it feels so great. And not only it looks great, but God, what an accomplishment. Or now to revert, I'd like to do, I have beads. I have little seed beads that I like to work with. I do bead looming. And I finally wanted to get them all off my countertop and into very organized containers, but not all the same colors are fitting into the same little box. And that's like, okay, Margie, let it go. Got a little frozen here. Let it go, and so then you go to your secondary plan. But so that's something else that I am learning, is that maybe the primary plan isn't always going to work, but the secondary plan will, and it probably will feel just as good. At least they're off the counter. So that is all.
Thank you so
Now you
much.
can put me back on mute if you'd like. I don't know why my button doesn't work here. So.
Okay, I will put you back on mute. And so that is all for today. We are going to close as we began. And this is an important part of, I think, the ritual of our gatherings, that we open and close the same way every week. And it's the same meditation. And I think it certainly helps me kind of create a mood, create a space. So let's stop and close our eyes and take in a deep breath through the nose and hold. And a nice leisurely exhale. And focus on the light that's filtering through your eyelids. This is the light of your divine spark. Feel the warmth and support. Help you do that cleaning task, that planning task. It's hard to get going on. And feel the warmth and support to let go of perfection, to let go of that extra bit of planning. Help you right size order in your life. And sit in the comfort of knowing that you are okay. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes.